To truly understand why a game affects us, we must first understand what brings us to and what we get out of video games. I've been playing video games for both as long as I can remember and vastly before that. It's been my dominant medium of choice nearly every day. There's a certain level of immersion video games can only bring due to their very nature of being interactive, constant movement on screen necessitating the constant movement of most of your senses. By its very nature, video games are hyperactive. It's amusing how a lot of my friends associate me with this weird, slow-paced man who needs everything to be in an incredibly slow state. Of course you'd see me this way when I literally make videos like Prince of Tennis and Passive Viewing arguing for why a slower pace is optimal, but this confusion lies with how I consume media itself and how mood adds to that. There is no waking hour that I won't be down to play a video game. Films and anime, I have to coach myself into consuming or be in such a specific mood that things just work. It's not that I necessarily regularly watch Yashike or shows like Prince of Tennis all the time. All of those shows I've been in a lulling, dreamlike state when consuming, lying on a couch halfway attentive but all the while feeling the atmosphere and drinking it in. It's enough wakefulness to understand the show but not too much as to avoid getting onto something else, and that's just a feeling that I really value. I wasn't always needing to be in that half-woke sleep state to get into it, but as I've gotten older, I do now. This is due in part to consuming subtitled media in general, because with most Western cartoons of a similar pace, they can be consumed passively by commercials, giving you time to jump between ideas, and because, you have other things to do when listening. It's a consequence of my very specific taste of slow-paced media, because the times in which I do connect with something more fast-paced, it has to hit me fairly hard. The only shows able to achieve this were BoJack Horseman and Breaking Bad due to the sheer amount of emotional density contained with them. Those certainly are a rarity in the massive expanse of animation and television in existence that I wish I could replicate that experience for. With those shows, there's always something happening. Many of the episodes end making you wonder about the continuity, and it's almost as if each minute there's something to chew on, and in such a way that appeals to me perfectly with its characters. And with Breaking Bad, the character keeps you glued to the screen just by how real it feels, with cinematography emphasizing faces. That very cinematography keeps you glued to the screen just by the density of that idea, both consciously and unconsciously. Consciously, you're thinking about, oh wow, this is a cool idea, and your head is bouncing off the wall, and unconsciously just on an emotional level that we don't quite know how to understand at first glance. But we're getting off into the weeds here, so what does Cuphead have to do with all this? It's no secret that Cuphead presents a massive amount of technical fidelity. It's an incredibly close representation of old cell animated cartoons, with every frame of animation during gameplay done with massive detail. Just on looking at it, the animation is fluid, and as a beginning programmer myself, I'd have to imagine this was all very hard to put together from an interactive and animation standpoint. You are in a cartoon. You don't have the added baggage of sitting down to watch a cartoon anymore, of wanting to get up, of your mind moving off onto another topic and breaking the immersion of your experience. You don't have time to get your immersion broken. There's bullets flying everywhere. There's bosses to beat. The experience is frantic. The shmup genre is one of my favorites as a result of this panic-stricken style of gameplay. Thus, Cuphead makes me experience a beautiful cartoon aesthetic without any immersion broken. It's the game I've always wanted. Never before have I received an aesthetic I loved so dearly in any form I literally can't take my overactive brain off of. For that, I deeply thank the developer of this modern masterpiece.